Alright everybody, thanks for joining us here on Adventures with Greg and Sabrina. So there's a reason why I'm doing this video here, and hopefully everybody hears it out there. There's a lot of talk and a lot of conspiracy. 2 years ago, it was announced and talked about with the Superstation 1. A lot of people was like, what does this do? And it was kind of up in the air. We didn't really know. In fact, it was probably 6 months ago to maybe a year ago. I see there's Superstation 1, and I'm thinking to myself, well, does it play discs? Does it play the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 discs at all? Because I see an eject button is what it looks like. And I kept saying to myself, well, let's just wait until it comes out, and then we'll see. So apparently pre-orders are available for this thing, and the reason why I'm making this video is there's absolutely zero reason to buy this thing, and I mean zero. People that buy this thing are trying to buy it to have a emulator. Basically, you will download a whole bunch of video games and from online sources, and then it's basically a little portable way to play your video games that you've downloaded, just so you know. Now, how do you download those? Well, you're pretty much using a computer to download them onto the thumb drive or the actual SD drive that's in the back. Apparently, this thing does have the capability to do Wi-Fi and hook up to the internet as well. So that means that you might be able to download those things directly from a website using the system itself. If you look at the back here, you can see that there's a Ethernet port. They also have an SD card location somewhere, and then there's USB. The problem I have with this is analog would do it better, and Lucky Palmer would just laugh at this thing because it doesn't even play the discs. Like, you could have all of this and be able to play the discs. That would be badass. But no. So they thought they could kind of hop up on a group of people that like believe in the old school games and want to play the old school games with HDMI. That's what everything is coming to right now, everybody. That's what everybody's wanting to do right now. That's just how it is. The reason why we all want an Ocarina of Time or Ocarina of Time remake is because Nintendo hasn't done it, and they need to do it, and we want it. And we want it souped up. We want it G'd up, you know. And I was waiting for the longest time to get something that could play my old N64 games in 4K or HDMI at least. So I bought all these other consoles. The problem we have with this is it is 100% useless, 100% junk. If you think you're going to buy this and just not, you know, it's a joke. It really is, okay? So, I don't like to talk bad about certain things, but this has to be said. We have a lot of guys that got their early pre-order batch and guys that paid these companies an early thing to do a review on YouTube. Mad Little Pixel is one of them. There's a couple other guys on YouTube that did a review on this. There is no point in even doing a review on this. The only thing this has that you could possibly even say, see right there at the front of this thing, it's got the little SD card or whatever. So it's a micro SD. So 64 micro SD, you're gonna put compressed files on there. Hopefully you can buy a terabyte one, which costs like $130, maybe more, you know. Unless you're buying the cheap Chinese ones, they might be like 80 to 100. Anyways, the point being here is You can stick your old PlayStation controllers in this and your old memory cards. Well, what's the point in that? You know, if you can't even play the games that you have, your discs, for PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, what is the point? Now, apparently, you can play other games on it, obviously. Well, then why don't you just go buy one of those emulator consoles on Amazon for $80 to $100? Do you see where I'm coming from yet? I mean, you really got to stick with what I'm saying here. Like the video if you agree. You know, I hate to tell you this, but literally Amazon is filled with PlayStation controller ROM knockoffs that have like 500,000 games. Okay? Like, it's no joke. Like, literally 50,000 games, 20,000 games, 60,000 games. I don't have to go there and tell you this, that you can buy this on Amazon that's wireless, and who needs a memory card from back in the day? Them damn things are, you can't even buy them. You have to buy them used if you even have them. You know, now for the game collector, you've already got the memory cards, and you'd be lucky if it held your data or it's not corrupted by now, right? So the whole point is with this console, which I was looking at, and I was like, man, the blue one looks really cool. I gotta have it. And then I find out this eject button does nothing. That's a reset button. And this is a power button. There is 0 disk drive in here. You cannot play your PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 games or anything in this thing. It's completely useless hardware. It's basically, say, you want to download a whole bunch of ROM hacks onto a file and play it. Well, just so you know, a computer can do this. A computer, any computer you have, you can do this right now. Right now. And you can buy those controllers from Amazon that hook up USB or wireless with a dongle for like $20 from Amazon. If you want to go emulated games, which are just fine, they're the same damn thing, it's just emulated. Hell, some of them even come with improvements. So, point being, there's people out there making videos on this. I seen Mad Little Pixels, and I was just like, I knew you were going to do a video on this. I just knew it. I was waiting. I was actually saying, last week, I was like, I'm wondering if he's going to do a video on that. And I'm just thinking, you know, I bet he's going to. Get his filthy little hands on it. And there's so many people out there like, hey, I got it. You know, and I'm doing a video on it. And it's just like, dude, I am not going to do a video on a piece of junk. Okay? You can do this with a computer. In fact, I have probably 1 billion ROMs on a computer. Like any game on a computer. Why would I even waste my money on this? Amazon, like I said, you can buy these on Amazon preloaded with games until they get caught and they change their name again. That's right. So, the moral of today's story is don't be a sucker, okay? If you bought one of these, you're a sucker. All because they put it in a nice-looking shell. Yes, that's right, folks. A sucker. So, I'm going to leave with this short little video here, just letting you know, why are you wasting your money on something like this? The price is way too high, and it doesn't even come preloaded. It comes preloaded with some sort of games, supposedly, but they're not copyright games, like games that could be copyrighted or something, I guess, according to some of the sources that I've heard. So, it's really funny. It is. It is funny as hell. I don't know why anybody would want to buy this thing. I just don't. If you can actually visually tell me why, like as we look here, Superstation 1, 64 gigabit micro SD, HDMI, and then the charge cable. Yes, big deal. This is what it comes with inside or something, I guess. Whatever, right? So you can get some SD RAM, you can get some adapter, you can get Super NES adapter. I don't know what the hell that's all about. A dock, like seriously, why? What? Just get out of here. Get out of here. You're trying to do what Analog does. You're trying to be like Analog and everybody else. I hate to tell you this, but this is gonna fail miserably bad. If you can't have something that plays PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games, don't try to copycat the professionals. Okay? So I'm probably going to reach out to Analog and tell them, hey, let's make us a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 system. And let's get it out there. You're going to get some sales on that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot I have to say. Like, for instance, Analog has been there doing the right thing and making the best out there. They beat everybody to it. They did it, and they did it a lot better than what you would think anybody else could have. I think they did a good job. I think they have some awesome consoles. Now you got to remember, the reason why Analog's probably not going platinum is because a lot of the consoles that sometimes when you're in production and you get to the very end of the assembly line and they test the console to see if it works, the ones that don't work, they put in a pile and they'll decide, are they going to try to fix it and ship it out, or are they going to save it for another model or save it for another design? Like, so some of your Funtastic consoles, some of those might have been ones that failed whenever, you know, they first made their first batch and stuff. You know, they might be carryovers, you know. So they re-chipped it or fixed something on it, and boom, it's good to go. You know, that's same thing with the prototype ones. You know, those were probably ones that were on the assembly line they had extras of. So we've got this many units extra, and, you know, instead of putting it into production, they save it for the next production. So, you know, that's sometimes how it works. Sometimes when you have production line stuff, you're trying to get all the boards made and everything, and then you have one that doesn't work right, and so they have to re-put a different transistor in there, or maybe a connection wasn't good, so they repair it or replace it. Just depends. So anyways, just letting you know. So this right here, obviously they're going to test to see if it runs stuff. But whatever you install, they can't guarantee that it's going to work. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying, people? Like, you can't guarantee, like, say you put some stuff in there and it's going to work on their system. You just don't know. On the computer, you can install the stuff, and if it don't work, then you scrap it and find another one. You know? So a whole base of ROMs added to it, you don't even know if it's going to work. So there's so many things, so many stipulations with buying this thing at this high of price. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, that's like a $50 thing, damn near. Probably over there in China anyways. So this does come from China. If you ask anybody, or if you ask Mad Little Pixel, he says it at the very beginning that it just came from China. So he got his in the house, and I hate to say it, it's because he contacted the company and paid to get it. Unfortunately, I will not bother, because I was waiting for somebody to do a review on this, and I was waiting for the final production, because at the beginning they didn't really specify exactly what this thing comes with, what exactly it does. They just stated the basis, and I was hoping, it looked like there was an eject button or something, like there might be a way to play discs. That's what we're all looking for. So what is the point? It would be great if you had all of this, and then also it does discs. Now, what someone could argue down in the comments, which I will not hear from anyone because nobody gives a shit, but what they could also state is you could hook up USB on the backside to a separate disk drive. Now, the problem is whenever you buy these separate disk drives, they may not be able to read a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 game. So, you could probably buy a Blu-ray disc drive reader, a read-write one. You could probably find something that could play DVDs, but there's a certain type or design and type of laser that's used for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. So you would have to try to find one of those, and that's almost near impossible, I'm sure. But you would hook up a separate disk drive to the back of this in the USB port. And that is the only thing I could think of. And what's the point in all of that? Like, how much money have you spent at that point? $500 to try to play a PlayStation 1 or 2 game in HDMI? That is the stupidest thing I ever heard. So, just so you know, we're waiting on the next person. So the next person would probably be Analog, and they're going to make a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 availability. They said this is inspired by PS1. Now, see, over there in China, they have this fire going inside of themselves. The fire is they want to play these old classic games in these new TVs. Well, I've been looking at that for years, buddy. I mean, we're talking since 2010 I've been looking at that. You know? Saying, man, my mom's got a 4K TV before me, and it was like 2010 or something like that. You know, and I'm thinking, well, it could have been 2012, I forget. But either way, you know, she had a 4K TV, and I'm thinking, no, man, they cost too much. Let's wait, you know. And my thoughts were like, whenever I would hook up to those TVs, it looked like total utter crap. So I had a few 720 TVs and stuff, and they looked pretty good on that. So just saying, man, you know, I guess we're going to have to wait for Analog or someone to come out with a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, or we're using converters that convert it over. And that's about all I got for you. That's about the end of that line. Because PlayStation ain't going to come out with anything, and neither is Nintendo. We've been waiting forever for Nintendo to come out with something that relates to their Nintendo 64 days or GameCube days. Instead, they're like, hey, pay the subscription to play these online games, and that's BS. I'm not doing that, you know, because I'll never play it. It'll be sitting there, you know. The problem with the subscription is maybe I feel like playing it today, but it could be months later before I feel like playing it again. Why would you pay for a subscription? You really have to have a house full of people that want to play. That's all I gotta say. And you have to have the original controllers that somehow sync up to that, or trying to use the actual Switch controllers, which Switch controllers are crap. They're like smaller than anything. Like, I could crush that thing in my hand. That's how small they are. I know you could say they're for kids. I don't care what you say. They're just, it's a junk-ass idea. Go back to the old school, or bring us some old school, you know. Unfortunately, the gaming world is going down right now, and it's always going down, so let's not even go there, you know. Call of Duty went down. Battlefield was up there, and then they fell down after their updates and stuff, and then we've got, you know, Nintendo Switch 2 that completely sucks, and there's no point in buying it until they actually come out with a game that everybody wants, you know. So there's really no point. There's too many restrictions with that Switch 2, and you guys know this. I hate to do a video where I say something negative, because I was hoping the Switch 2 would be named something else and it wouldn't be like the Switch 1. It's almost kind of like the Wii U. The Wii U, they said, didn't do good. However, I kind of liked it. I liked it better than the Wii, you know? Like, we got one Wii or two Wiis, right? We got two Wiis, and the Wii U was actually pretty cool. You know, it had a lot of stuff. And it did HDMI, and the Wii did not. So, the Wii U, not just having HDMI, but it also allowed you to get all of your old classic games, like Majora's Mask and all that stuff. So, just saying. Anyways, I got to cut this video off. We're going on 20 minutes and I got stuff to do. Don't waste your money on this thing. I'm just getting the word out there that, hey, man, what the hell are you humans doing? You know? And then you can see bolt holes at the top of that thing. Drill holes. Look, right here. There's a whole bunch of them. There's 6 of them on the top of that for screws to go in. What kind of crap is that? Anyways, you guys have a good one. Till next time, subscribe.
Zombie apocalypse.